Hello and welcome to Film Companion South. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Anand Shankar's Enemy, which has Arya and Vishal battling it out as sworn enemies. Now, of all the genres, the thriller is the most difficult to pull off in mainstream Tamil cinema because, traditionally you're expected to have a romance track, you're expected to have songs, you're expected to have a comedy track, and so on and so forth. And all this kind of comes in the way of the nail-bitingness of the thriller. So, when Anand Shankar debuted with Arya, I was pleasantly surprised. There was no flashy cutting, no mood-killing romance, no comedy track. The atmosphere was tense. It was like there was real mood there. Now, I don't know how that movie did at the box office, but since then, Anand Shankar has become more mainstream with films like Irumugan and Nota, which have been underwhelming compared to Arya. So the big relief about Enemy is that it is a kind of return to form for this filmmaker, Anand Shankar. Yes, it is too long. Yes, there is a mood-killing romance, but it is not allowed to kill the mood for too long. But that slick Anand Shankar sensibility that we saw in Arya, it is back. Now, I don't want to make this sound like a revolutionary movie. It's a pretty formulaic, Hollywoody kind of outing. But that's also done, when done well, it has its own pleasures, right? This is that kind of movie. But when this is done nicely, with a nice sensibility, it also makes you feel that Tamil cinema can absorb these things while still retaining the Tamil cinema soul. Now, take one of the romances that happens in this movie. Now, I don't want to give away too much in this film because, a lot of it happens with you trying not to outguess what's happening. But this romantic track, the details are revealed slowly and they turn out to be connected to childhood events which we saw at the beginning of the film. Now, I really like that in the sense that despite some very flabby dialogue and there's a lot of talking, the basic writing of the film is pretty solid. Now, what I mean by this is that there are several concepts here. There's a concept of photographic memory, there's a concept of seafood allergy, there's a line that comes about when two people are playing chess where one guy says to the other, "Ye Rani ani todave mudiyadu." And there is the entirely accidental way in which the Arya character and the Vishal character meet in childhood. Now, all of these come back at least once again in the screenplay, in the sense that they're not just cool things or events being thrown about, they actually play a function in the overall story and structure. And refreshingly, as Arya and Vishal battle each other, there is serious collateral damage. The hero may save the day, but he also loses a lot. And it's not just physical fighting, there's also a lot of brain work and strategic thinking involved, at least compared to the normal masala or mass movies that we usually get. But despite all this, why don't we get that nail-biting feeling that we get in the Hollywood films? One reason, of course, is the length, which is 2 hours and 40 minutes, which is simply too long for this kind of a movie. Another reason is the songs, especially one really idiotically placed song right at the time when there is a murder being attempted. I wish the time devoted to these songs had instead been used to write out or flesh out Vishal's actions better. For example, how he locates the fact that there is a bounty hunter. But again, as I said at the beginning, thrillers are very, very difficult to pull off in Tamil cinema, especially thrillers that retain that sense of something continuous, something interesting, something different happening even within the predictable framework. And in that sense, Enemy delivers. It is stylishly shot and the action scenes are fairly different from what we usually see, in the sense that it's not just about one guy punching another guy who then goes and lands 3 feet away. Some of the stunts are pretty preposterous. They're almost like, oh my god, seriously, that level of fun. Vishal and Arya are perfectly cast in the sense that they are needed more for their physicality than for their acting abilities, which is just perfect because except for one really embarrassing scene at the end, both of them aren't required to act at all, and that suits this movie just fine. And at the end, you come away with that wasn't bad at all kind of feeling. So that's it about Enemy. If you like this video, do subscribe to Film Companion South and see you soon at the movies.